Welcome to another edition of AircraftPost Rousseau Report. I'm your host, Dennis Rousseau. To date, in collaboration with Slex Allen Productions, we've produced 24 informational videos, and I'd like to thank you for watching. As you've noticed, we typically end each session with a market depreciation curve, and today we'd like to speak to that aspect of ownership, due to the fact that new aircraft prices continue to rise year over year, and in almost all cases, it's the largest cost of aircraft ownership. Let's start with aircraft in the small jet category. They're classified as such due to their small cabins and range. Current production aircraft include the Citation CJ4 and Phenom 300, collectively 940 aircraft in service. Both cost around $10 million new, have a 1,900-mile range or 5-hour endurance. However, the average stage length is only 1.5 hours, which means they fly for 1 hour and 30 minutes, then land, which translates into higher fuel burns. However, for the sake of discussion, let's use an average fuel burn of 180 gallons per hour times 7 gallons an hour, which is $1,300 an hour, $400 an hour for scheduled and unscheduled maintenance, $400 an hour for engine reserves, plus $100 for incidentals, to total $2,200 per hour. Then you have fixed costs such as crew and mechanic salaries, insurance, hangar, which for a small jet flying an average 300 hours per year can run around $700,000 or $2,300 an hour. Plus the $2,200 an hour in direct costs, we're up to $4,500 per hour. Now the cost that no one likes to talk about, a 2015 CJ4 sold new for $9.4 million. And last year, the average resale price for the 4 2015 year models that sold was $5.7 million. The aircraft lost 40% of its original cost new in 5 years, or $3.8 million. And if we amortize the $3.8 million into an hourly rate based on 300 hours a year, that's just over $2,500 per hour in market depreciation. Add that to our fixed and direct costs, $7,000 per hour, and that does not include your principal and interest payments, which can get pretty costly. But it gets more interesting as we go up in category. In the super midsize category, current production aircraft include the Challenger 350, the G280, the Legacy 500, Praetor 600, and the relatively new Citation Longitude. Collectively, they have an average cost new of $21 million and an average 3,300-mile range. However, the average stage length for the 826 aircraft in service is only 1.8 hours. A 2015 Embraer Legacy 500 had an original cost new of $20 million. And of the 3 2015 year model 500s traded last year, the average selling price was $11.2 million. And as we go up in category, average annual utilization will increase to about 400 hours per year, and costs of operation also increase. You have more square footage for hangar space. Crew salaries and insurance will increase, as will maintenance costs, engine programs, and fuel burns. On the direct operating cost side, your typical fuel burn will be on average 275 gallons per hour. Once again, using the $7 per gallon, that's $1,900 an hour, plus $800 an hour for engines, to total $2,700 per hour just for fuel and engine reserves. With an average resale price of $11.2 million, the Legacy 500 lost $8.8 million, or 44% of its original cost new in 5 years. That's $4,400 per hour, just in market depreciation, plus your fixed costs and your P&I payments. The long-range category consists of aircraft such as Dassault's Falcon 8X, Gulfstream's G550, Bombardier's Global 6000, and 6500, and Gulfstream's fairly new G600, all capable of 6,000 to 6,500 nautical mile range, which is 12 plus hours. Average stage length is all but 2.7 hours. The 550 and 6000 were staunch competitors for years, and although the Gulfstream has an hour more range, they were priced similarly and perform equally as well in the pre-owned markets. They each have 3-zone cabins with a 26-foot cabin length, Rolls-Royce BR710 engines, long-range cruise of 0.8 Mach, advanced avionics, and an average fuel burn of 500 gallons per hour, which once again, at the $7 per gallon, that's $3,500 per hour in fuel. Add another $1,000 for engine reserves, and as you can see, these aircraft get very expensive very quick, relatively speaking, of course. And of course, the major airframe inspections every 8 years for the G550 and 10 years for the Global 6000 can run $700,000 to $1.5 million respectively. which is a lot of money. However, on an hourly basis, it equates to just a few $100s. Fixed costs, crew salaries, hangar and insurance become increasingly expensive as well, with crew alone reaching or exceeding $1 million. So what does market depreciation look like? In 2015, both aircraft had an average cost new of $51 million. And in 2020, 5 years later, they were averaging $26.2 million on the pre-owned market. In other words, they lost near 50% of their original cost new in 5 years, or just a little over $5 million a year. Based on 400 hours per year, that's, you got it, $12,000 per hour. And just as we thought we could travel fast and far enough, we added the ultra-long range category. It began with the Gulfstream's G650ER in 2012. The Global 7500 entered service 2 years ago, and soon to enter the Gulfstream G700. The latter two reaching the $70 million price point. Although acquisition costs are higher, operating costs for these aircraft are roughly the same, plus or minus, as in the long-range category. And the average stage length is also the same at 2.8 hours. A 2015 650ER had an average price point new of $67 million, and in 2020 sold on the pre-owned markets for $41 million, losing $26 million or 40% of its original cost new in 5 years. Based on 400 hours per year, ready for this one? $13,000 per hour in market depreciation. So what does it all really mean? It's all about being informed to ensure you're not blindsided. Whether you currently own an aircraft or considering purchasing, you should be using the right industry measures to make informed decisions. Similar to putting together an annual operating budget, it ensures everyone's on the same page and knows all there is to know to make the operation seamless. Our industry is all about technology, the latest and greatest to help us be more efficient. We make the aircraft go faster, higher, burn less fuel. We lower the cabin altitude so passengers can arrive refreshed. But regardless of the aircraft category, small, medium, super midsize, long range, or ultra long range, OEMs are going to quote a base price new, and it could be millions off from what your neighbor paid. But when you start from an artificially high price and the OEM gives you a 10% discount, it sounds like a great deal. Is it? Using the proper industry measures. What does the late model pre-owned market really look like? What sold in the last 6-12 months? At what price point? And remember, market depreciation starts with the base price, not price loaded with options. Due to the fact the market doesn't value aircraft based on the options, but rather total time, engine programs, interior configuration, and the like. In the next few sessions, we're going to be addressing maintenance costs and what it really means to the bottom line. Until then, I'm Dennis Rousseau with AircraftPost Rousseau Report. Have a good day.